Demi Romano, and today I chose to talk about Sylvester Stallone. And I'll be talking about his life and career in both acting and directing. And I chose Sylvester Stallone for this video report because I grew up watching him with my family, and I'll always cherish and love his movies. And I want to talk about a man whose life is practically a movie in itself. A man who went from being a broke, struggling actor to becoming one of the most iconic action stars of all time. And again, of course, I'm talking about Sylvester Stallone. Now, when most people hear the name Stallone, they immediately think of Rocky Balboa, the Italian stallion, or maybe John Rambo, battle scared veteran. And that's fair. Those roles made him a legend, in my opinion. But Sylvester Stallone is more than the character he plays. His life story is a whole movie in itself. So let's rewind back to the beginning. Sylvester Stallone was born on July 6, 1946, in New York City. He had a rough start due to complications during his birth. The lower left side of his face was paralyzed, giving him that distinctive slurred speech and snarl in his movies. And as a child, he was bullied. He struggled a lot in school, and by the time he was pursuing acting, he was getting rejected every other role. So, one casting agent told him he looked too odd. Another said he sounded like he had marbles in his mouth because of his slurred speech. But Sylvester Stallone had something every great underdog needs: grit. He refused to give up, and that's why I really inspire and he really inspires me, and I chose to talk about him today. In the early '70s, he was broke, living in a tiny apartment, and even had to sell his dog Buckus. But because he couldn't afford to feed him, that same dog, by the way, will later appear in Rocky. Life was hitting him hard, as he later say, punching him in the face. But he kept writing, acting, and hustling. Then came the script that changed everything: Rocky. He wrote Rocky in just 3.5 days after watching a championship boxing match between Muhammad Ali and Chuck Wepner. He saw something in that fight, something that the human spirit, and he turned it into a story without nobody from Philly getting a shot at the title. Now here's what it gets when it gets where it gets real inspiring. Hollywood loved the script. Studios were ready to throw money at it, but they didn't want Stallone to star in it. They wanted a big name, maybe Burt Reynolds or James Caan, but Stallone said no. He insisted he would only sell the script if he got to play Rocky. Think about a guy with no money, barely scraping by, turning down hundreds of thousands of dollars because he believed in his dream. He wanted to star in his own movie. Eventually, they gave in. Rocky was made on a low budget, just over 1 million, released in 1976. It became a massive hit. Critics loved it. Audiences loved it. And at the 1977 Oscars, Rocky won the Best Picture. Stallone went from a nobody to a two-time Oscar nominee for Best Actor and Best Original Screenplay, practically overnight. He had gone the distance, just like his character Rocky. From there, Stallone built a career on that same underdog energy. He created John Rambo, the tortured Vietnam vet in First Blood. He turned that into a blockbuster franchise. He made movies like Cobra, Cliffhanger, Demolition Man, and The Expendables, which I personally really love. He became the face of 1980s and 90s action, muscles, explosion, and one-liner films. But Sylvester Stallone's work wasn't just bullets and biceps. He's introspective. He's surprisingly an introspective actor. Look at Rocky Balboa in 2006, a film about aging, grief, and proving you've still got something left in the tank. Or Creed in 2015, where he returned to the ring as a mentor and earned an Academy Award nomination again after almost 40 years after the original Rocky. That's a rare kind of longevity, and that's a career of heart. That's why Rocky succeeded in the way it did. What I admire about Stallone is how his real life journey mirrors his characters, taking punches from critics, studios, from life itself, and kept getting back up. He's been called a one trick pony, a meathead, and has been, but he kept proving them wrong again and again with his hit movies. He's also an artist behind the camera, writing, directing, producing. He directed several Rocky sequels, Rambo films, and other passion projects. And whether or not you love every movie, one thing is consistent. He pours everything he's got into them. Now, let's talk about legacy. Stallone's impact on cinema is undeniable. He helped shape the modern action hero. He gave us stories that celebrated the underdog outsider, the fighter who refused to quit. He showed generations of moviegoers and movie makers that you don't have to be perfect to be powerful. You don't have to be polished to be a star. You just need to keep swinging. And beyond the screen, inspired, he's inspired millions. Think about it. All the people who laced up boxing gloves because of Rocky, including me. The tourists who run the Philadelphia Museum of Art steps, fists raised. The fans who watch these movies when they need a reminder they can keep going, no matter what life throws at them. So what can we learn from Sylvester Stallone? We learn that rejection is not the end. That rough beginnings don't define your future. That if you have a voice, even if it's slurred, even if it's doubted, you should use it. We learned that no dream is too big, no person is too small to dream of. To quote Rocky Balboa, the character and the man, it ain't about how hard you hit, it's about how hard you get hit and keep moving forward. That's not just a line, that's a life philosophy. So here's to Sylvester Stallone, the dreamer, the fighter, the legend, the man who taught us that being an underdog is not a weakness, it's a superpower. Thank you.